Astronauts make a lot of sacrifices when they venture off of Earth. Besides the dangers of space travel and time away from family, microgravity comes with a whole new set of rules that dictates many facets of everyday life. Space is something that is exciting, thrilling, mysterious, and frightening to everyone on our planet. Technically, even though we are cushioned in our habitable and comforting atmosphere that lets us breathe and flourish, we are still part of space. A quick ride in a rocket straight up will take a person to space in a mere matter of moments, and outer space displays its wonder to an astronaut's eyes. Here are 10 things astronauts can't do in space. 1. Astronauts can't cry the same in space as they do on Earth. Astronauts can laugh in space all they want, but the act of crying is quite different without gravity. When asked if he could cry in space, Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield answered, "Can you cry in space? Your eyes make tears, but they stick as a liquid ball. In fact, they sting a bit." So, space tears don't shed, unless an astronaut wipes that water away. Tears in space can form a giant clump that can break free of your eye, as the Atlantic explained. So in space, you can actually watch a ball of your tears float around. 2. They can't consume common items like bread and soda. According to the Franklin Institute, many popular foods are too difficult to transport to and eat in space. Bread, for example, can result in crumbs that can damage equipment or accidentally get inhaled by astronauts. Therefore, according to NASA, tortillas have been used since the 1980s. When it comes to beverages, carbonated drinks are off the table because they aren't buoyant in a weightless environment. Vicky Cloris, subsystem manager for Shuttle and ISS Food Systems at Johnson Space Center and program manager for NASA FTCSC, told NASA, "Carbonated drinks currently don't make the trip because the carbonation and the soda will not separate in microgravity." 3. Astronauts can't write with regular pens. If you've ever tried to write with a pen upside down, you'll know that it doesn't work. The ink needs gravity to flow. According to Scientific American, astronauts from the US and cosmonauts from Russia were both originally stuck to mechanical pencils in space. Then in 1965, the Fisher Pen Company patented a pen whose cartridge is pressurized with nitrogen. That pressure pushes the ink toward the tip, allowing the pen to work even when upside down, in extreme temperatures or underwater. The pens are still used today. 4. They can't coordinate their sleep schedules with the rising and setting of the sun. On the International Space Station, astronauts can experience up to 16 sunsets in a 24-hour day, so their sleep schedules can't rely on light patterns. To prepare for this, astronauts go through intensive sleep training before they launch, according to space.com. 5. Drinking alcohol is not allowed in space. Although sherry was once proposed in 1972 as a part of astronauts' meals, it never made it to the space station due to public outrage over astronauts drinking in space and created the need for an alcohol ban. Daniel G. Hewitt, spokesperson for NASA's Johnson Space Center, told the BBC, "Alcohol is not permitted on board the International Space Station for consumption. But Russian cosmonauts are apparently allowed to consume cognac for immune health. The reasoning, however, they can't enjoy a hot shower." In space, astronauts must use all resources, especially water, which is heavy and therefore expensive to transport, as efficiently as possible. In place of showers, astronauts take sponge baths using water distilled from humidity in the air, urine, from oral hygiene, and hand washing, among other things. On the ISS, according to NASA, water is gathered from humidity in the air and from human waste to be turned back into purified drinking water. There also isn't a particularly efficient way to wash clothes, so astronauts just repeat outfits. 7. NASA reports that astronauts can start to lose their sense of taste while in space. Once back on Earth, they say foods taste much stronger. One reason for this might be that in space, fluids in the body move differently because of the lack of gravity. So rather than being needed in the legs, fluid in the body goes to the head, where it can stuff up the nasal passages. Another hypothesis is that strong odors in the cabin of the ISS dull the body's sense of smell, which in turn dulls the sense of taste. 8. Drinking coffee. Water is a key ingredient in coffee drinks, but pouring coffee grounds into boiling water while in microgravity is a recipe for disaster. A new espresso machine that uses capsules of grounds was developed especially for orbiting astronauts. 9. Using a restroom. Believe it or not, before going into space, astronauts complete a toilet training program. There are 2 different bathroom mechanisms, each designed for a specific bodily function. When nature calls, astronauts use a specially designed toilet seat for solid waste and a liquid waste vacuum tube with different sized funnels for men and women. 10. Astronauts can't put out a fire the same way. Leininger was on the Mir space station when a fire sparked. His first reaction was to open a window, but that's certainly not possible in space, Donovan says. Instead, astronauts use fire suppression equipment. Donovan explains that in space, fire burns differently because there's a lack of oxygen. That's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, kindly like the video and subscribe to our channel.